Hi, it's Crazy Monkey here again with another real quick blog update. I want to talk about the tax cut right now. It's September, it's late September, so Trump's proposed his tax cut, and it's a very big, to me it's a very big disappointment, because during the primaries he was saying that he was going to cut taxes and raise the exemption up to like $50,000 for a family or $25,000 for an individual. That's what he was saying. He was I think it's an exemption right now. I think it's like $6,000 for an individual or like $12,000 something for a couple family, and he was going to raise that exemption, that tax exemption, all the way up to $25,000 for an individual, $50,000 for a family, which would be a huge tax cut to basically poor middle class people, because that basically means a family that's middle class that makes $50,000 would pay zero income tax under that tax cut proposal that he made back in the primary. Now that has been scaled way back. First he scaled it back to $30,000. Now it's been scaled back all the way to $24,000. Now you already get an exemption of like $6,000, so a family gets like 12 something, and then there's other exemptions as well. So he's only going to raise it from like 12 something up to 24. So when you do the math, you're only getting a tax cut of about $1,500 at most, but then you lose other stuff. Like the 10% bracket goes up to 12%. It's actually a tax increase on the poor and working class. So when you do the math, your tax cut's in the hundreds. The average working class, middle class family is going to get several $100 tax cut under his newest proposal. And I think it's utterly disgusting when you have a billionaire that will be able to give $1 billion inheritance to their children tax-free under his proposal. They get like a $250 million tax cut. They'll inherit $1 billion, they'll inherit $1 billion, and then they can just live a luxurious life, never have to work a day in their life, just live on the high, just do whatever they want because they got $1 billion. They're going to get $1 billion tax-free from their rich parents, $1 billion tax-free, and they get a $250 million tax cut, and then all we get is a few hundred. And then when you look, it's going to cause a massive deficit increase, and then they'll probably cut spending to the states, which means the states will raise taxes. So I bet when it's all over with, I bet middle-class people will pay higher taxes. I bet poor people will pay higher taxes. Also, some rich guy can give $1 billion inheritance tax-free to his kids, so they pay no tax. And then they can just, become radical leftists with their $1 billion in free money, and never having to pay tax on any of it. Because if you look, rich kids, the spoiled, red diaper baby rich kids, they are the most spoiled, they're the most entitled, they're the most radical left-wing antifa piece of shits, all right? They're not all like that, but a lot of them are. Why did they get a tax cut when the firefighters, the police officers, and all of us middle-class people, we're going to get basically nothing? I think it's really sick. I think it's really sick. And if Trump wants to win in 2020, the Republicans want to win in 2018, they should just keep it simple. They should do 2 tax cuts, keep it simple. They should do the $50,000 exemption for a family. They should do that. That was what Trump's original proposal was in the primaries when he was running against Ted Cruz in the primaries. His original proposal was families making up to $50,000 a year would pay 0 tax. Individuals making up to $25,000 a year would pay 0 income tax, and then the families up to $50,000 would pay 0 income tax. That was the original proposal. That original proposal needs to be the tax cut. That's what needs to be the tax cut. You can make up to $50,000 a year for a family, pay no tax. So it's a $50,000 exemption for family, $25,000 exemption for individual. They need to do that, and then they need to just cut the corporate tax down to 25, and that's it. That's it. Just get rid of everything else. Just leave everything else status quo. Just leave everything else status quo and just do those 2 things. If you don't get a big victory, then it's going to be a bloodbath in the next 2 years, next 4 years. Democrats, socialists are going to take over and they're going to wreck the country, turn it into Venezuela. All right. So if you want to save the country, if you don't want it turning into a socialist Venezuela hellhole, and you want capitalism to succeed, and you want America to succeed, the best thing to do, like I said, is cut the corporate tax down to 25%, and then do the $50,000 exemption, no taxes for families up to $50,000, no taxes for individuals up to $25,000, and then just leave everything else as status quo. Keep the inheritance tax, don't change it, just keep it the way it is. Just keep all the brackets the way they are, don't change any of them. Keep the 10%, keep the 15, don't change anything. Just do those 2 things. Cut the corporate tax from 39 to 25, so that creates lots of jobs. So that benefits the middle class by creating jobs. And then the second thing you do is you raise the personal exemption to $25,000, so you can make $25,000 tax-free. You can make $50,000 for a family tax-free. That's what they should do. And if they did that, it would be very popular. I think most people would support that. And I think they would get the votes, and I think they would pass it, and then that would be Trump's first big victory. And then I think with that first big victory, you know, the Republicans will look good in 2018, and that Trump will look very good in 2020. But if he doesn't do that, and he gets no victories, and there's no wall, and there's no cut to massive immigration that's lowering our wages, you know, he's going to lose. You know, and rightfully so as well. It's just sad because the result will be a socialist Democrat Party that turns this country into Venezuela, and that's very, very sad.